Well, today in India is known as Guru Purnima or Purnima, and it's the day that Indians honor their guru, give thanks. And the word guru, actually, it comes from two roots, gu and ru, darkness and light. So it's anyone that leads you from darkness to light or from ignorance to wisdom. And of course, everyone's first guru is their mother. And even if your mother was hard on you, still you learned something from that. And then, of course, your father and your family, and then your teachers, and really, and then, of course, your spiritual teachers. And so like Ravi Shankar, the sitar player, his guru is the guy that taught him to play the sitar, his first guru. Of course, he had spiritual gurus also. But generally, someone does not call himself a guru. You may find somebody as a guru, even the great gurus like Neem Karoli Baba, who I spent time with in India. He was Ram Dass's guru, and I spent quite a bit of time with him and Ram Dass and Krishna Das and the whole group of Dasas there. They did not, Neem Karoli Baba did not call himself a guru or their guru. And none of my teachers have ever really called themselves my guru. The ultimate guru is what I call the I am presence, or in India, the Atman. Now that's a picture behind me of the I am presence. So the human body is down at the bottom, and then there's a tube of light that comes from the heart center, not the heart, but it's near the thymus in the center of your chest. That's where your God presence is anchored, and then it goes right up through the top of your head, and you have a number of other bodies too, an etheric body, what they call, some people call an astral body, higher mental body, so on, probably 7 bodies. And then finally, the God presence, which is just a ball of light, which is the source of your being. And no guru could teach you anything without your I am presence. And so ultimately, you are learning everything from God directly from your I am presence. And the path of mastery is to learn to tune into that presence consciously, which is where meditation comes in. Sometimes you'll get that aha moment when you have a sudden realization, and that's coming from your God presence. So everybody has a guru, really, and there are also ascended masters, like you have a Jesus, Ascended Master Jesus, and Ascended Master Saint Germain. Those are 2 of my teachers. And you don't need to struggle to contact them. All you need to do is think of them, and they're aware of you. And they may not talk to you, verbally, but just know that they've heard you, and you'll get the guidance from just following your heart. When I first met one of my great teachers, Pearl, in Mount Shasta, she said, Saint Germain is talking to you and teaching you something. I said, I don't hear a thing. Would you channel a message? What's he saying? She said, no, I'm not allowed to channel to you. He's teaching you on a higher level. And when the time comes to act, you will know what to do. He's talking to your higher mental body. But if he tells you what to do all the time, there's no growth in it. Where do the ascended masters get their guidance? They get it from in here. They don't get it because some other master told them this or that. So ultimately, the ultimate guru is the God presence, which is with us all the time. You could not take a breath without your God presence. It's telling your heart to beat at every moment. And sometimes the guru will appear in a way you don't expect. It could even be someone pushes your buttons, and later you realize, wow, dealing with that situation really taught me a lot. And then you give gratitude to that person who at the time was very annoying or even made you angry, and you'll realize that's showing you something you need to work on in yourself. And it's interesting, just yesterday, I was thinking about a situation in India where I saw a yogi sitting on the sidewalk in the busiest part of town. And I wondered why he was sitting there. He was sitting right in front of all the shops where people were arguing with the shopkeepers over the price, and there were motorcycles and rickshaws going by. And I wanted to say to him, hey, dude, the sidewalk on the other side of the street is more quiet. There's a wall of the ashram there, and the sidewalk is going in front of that. Why don't you move across the street? It'd be much quieter there. And I just realized that he was sitting there deliberately because that was the most aggravating place he could possibly be. So he could easily be in a cave in the Himalayas and be in absolute bliss, be in samadhi. But he knew that would push his buttons to be there on the sidewalk, that he really had to master his attention. And I sort of realized that's kind of the path I've been given a lot, is the masters have put me in situations that have pushed my buttons that have been very aggravating. Even living in places where, I'm trying to meditate and the neighbor is splitting his firewood for the winter, or they're mowing the lawn or something like that. And I have to go within and find the inner peace regardless of the outer distractions. So, and the Dalai Lama said his first guru was his mother. She would get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and go for an hour to get water so she could make breakfast for everybody. And he realized he learned compassion from her, what real compassion is, and dedication.
Oh, that's
So anyway, that's just a few thoughts about the meaning of today. And it's amazing, Ireland, that you chose this day for me to talk, that I can share this with people.
Thank you for sharing that, Peter. I consider you one of my gurus, my spiritual teachers, because you came to me out of nowhere when I went to Mount Shasta, and then my dad met you, and then I ended up meeting you, and you were able to transfer your I am consciousness and the light. I remember when we sat across from each other and we were just like looking at each other. And I know this is what you and Pearl would do, like a staring meditation. And you told me, you're like, you are the light. The sun is in your heart. And you didn't really have to say much. You just looked at me. And after that experience, I was in my I am for so long. Of course, it kind of settled down a little bit, but the energy that you brought forward was so strong. I was just like, I am this, I am that. All the fear was gone because of your energy field. It's that powerful. So that's the amazing thing about gurus or people, even like our own mother, who hold that unconditional love for us. It heals us, it transforms us, and you hold that so purely, Peter. That's what I love about you, is you're not on the mountain away from everybody. You saw when you went to India, those masters, yes, they're holding that higher consciousness. They don't really interact with the public, but you're here holding this consciousness and being of service like Jesus, walking around and sharing your light and giving your light. That's why I adore you, brother, with your
Thank
service.
you. Thank you. Well, I like to say, the other day somebody asked me on Facebook, they said, oh, what was it like to sit at the feet of Neem Karoli Baba? That's Ram Dass's guru, they call him Maharaji. And I said, well, quite frankly, it was kind of boring. He didn't say anything. He was this big guy with a big belly hanging out, just wearing a sheet, and he'd scratch his head. And he every now and then he would say something like, love people and feed them, but mostly he didn't teach anything. In 6 months, he maybe said 2 or 3 things to me, but I didn't even then get what he was saying. Like the one main comment he said to me was, who are you? And I thought, I've been sitting here for a month and you just now noticed me? I thought you were supposed to be enlightened. What he meant was, what are you? You know, ask, meditate on who am I? I am. And feel that light. That's what he was trying to get me to do. But when it came at the very end, the last meeting I had with him, a private meeting, he was very frustrating, and he even picked up a rock and acted like he was going to hit me with it. And apparently Krishnadas had a similar experience. He went to him for guidance before he left India. Oh, Guruji, tell me what I'm supposed to do with my life. And Neem Karoli Baba says, I don't care what you do, just get out of here. And Krishnadas got it kind of intuitively. He said, oh, as he was going out the door, he said, I know, I'll sing to you. And that has been his life work ever since then, you know. But he got it within inside himself. The guru did not tell him that. So
Wow.
then, you know, after that, I met Anandamayi Ma on the street. She was one of the great lady saints, a friend of Yogananda and everything. And the first time I met her, she was buying rice, and I was buying rice too. And then when we left, I offered to carry her groceries, and she said, no, we just had a nice talk. And I said, isn't that sweet? What a nice old lady, you know? And then the next day I saw her, and she fixed me in her eye, and she sent this consciousness to me that I was in a rickshaw and she was by the side of the road. I almost fell out of the rickshaw because I knew she was seeing God in me. And I went back and I meditated for the next 3 days. And I said, I want to see in myself what she is seeing in me. And then it was when I came back to the States, I met Pearl, and Pearl taught me how to do that with this looking meditation that you mentioned, Ireland, where you just sit and feel the light in your heart, the love, and you realize that is also in the person you're looking at. In fact, in India, when they say namaste, that means the God in me honors the God in you. So the amazing thing is, when we do these Zoom meetings, it doesn't matter that we may be 1,000 miles or 2,000 miles or 10,000 miles apart from each other, people still feel it. And that's because on the higher level, our higher bodies are all in the same room. And we are leaving a record in the Akashic record. And 5 years from now, someone can watch this video and they will say, I felt the energy of that meeting, because we are releasing, each of us, that energy from our hearts into the ethers around us, and we are all linked together, sending light and love out into the world. And this is something permanent that will always be there. And this is how we can be of service to humanity. Each of us, wherever we might be, can send that light out into the world and affect everyone else. That's the same principle as in quantum mechanics. An atom of carbon on the Earth affects an atom of carbon 50,000 light years from here. So each of us is an atom of God, like we're all drops in the ocean of God. So what each of us is thinking and feeling is affecting the others.
Yes.
So let's all send love to not only to each others, but to everyone on the planet. And I would like to do one thing. Why don't we all thank our gurus, you know, from our mother to our teachers in school? This is what I did this morning. Before I logged on, I spent a half hour thinking of all the beings that have taught me and gave thanks to them. You know, ending with my own God presence. So we could just take a minute and think, I give gratitude to all those beings who have been my teachers. And also gratitude to Ireland for initiating this talk. And thank you, all of you who are attending, because I am learning from you. We all learn from each other. That's why we came to the earth plane, is to learn these lessons.
Thank you, brother, so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you.
And if you could just talk a little bit about maybe, yeah, the earth plane. And I know when you were going to ascend out of here, when you were in the woods, when you were in Muir Woods, and Saint Germain and them showed up and took you out of your body, and you came back here, right? And so do you feel like we're all working on clearing karma, and that's why people are still here and not able to leave? Like, what do you think is going on in terms of reincarnation and your ability to ascend beyond this realm?
Yeah, well, Saint Germain offered me the chance to leave the earth plane. I had been with a yogi in the Himalayas that was getting ready to do that. Those yogis can just say, I'm finished here, and then leave their bodies, and that's it. They're in a higher plane. And I had wanted to do that, I thought, but then he materialized in front of me in Muir Woods near San Francisco, and he took me out of the body. He showed me my higher self, and he showed me a realm, you might call it heaven, where everybody was in their God presence, the I am presence. People were just balls of light. And I said, this is it. It was blissful. This is where I want to be. And then I heard this, I saw the suffering on the earth. I heard it first, this crying, and it was awful. And I said, what is that? And he said, that's the suffering of humanity. And I said, oh, I want to go back and help those poor people that are suffering. And he smiled and he said, you made the right choice. Yeah, I want you to help me in my work, but you need more training first. I'm sending you to Mount Shasta. Your teacher is there. And that turned out to be Pearl. But what I see now, it's not just finishing our personal karma. Like if you realize you hurt someone in a past life, you may have chosen to embody with them in this life or to meet them. And then maybe they hurt you, and you have to both learn forgiveness and lessons like that, overcoming anger and fear and those types of things. But some people may be here, maybe even not so much to finish karma, but just they agreed to come here and serve to help others. And
Yeah,
it
that's
wouldn't
what I feel
surprise me.
for. What was that?
Yeah, there's some of these children being born now, and it could be that they don't even have any karma. They just came here to be light bearers, you know? So,
Yeah, that's what Dolores Cannon talks about. A lot of us on here resonate with Dolores Cannon, and she talks about the waves of volunteers that are here for the earth, the ascension process and being that light. And so I know a lot of people already feel like they have ascended beyond this realm, but they're back here for this specific time period of ascension.
exactly. And we could be entering a time now of, well, it's a term that's kind of thrown around very loosely, but like mass ascension, you know, where a whole group get lifted up at the same time. That's why it's very important to trust in the process and not get distracted by world events. You know, that the people that need to go through those events will go through them, and the people that don't need that will be lifted to a higher frequency world.
Exactly. That's what I feel. I feel like we're being lifted faster than ever during this time. I feel like every day it's just getting lighter and lighter on the planet. The energies I can feel in my own personal life. And I just know everything that's happening on the world stage is a distraction, 100%. It takes us away from our I am presence, like our true power to
Mhm.
be in this world, but not of this world.
Yeah. So many people feel sort of stretched, like over, especially this past year, on one hand, the masters in your I am presence are pulling you upward, are raising your frequency, but then things on the earth plane seem also more difficult. So it's feeling like being a rubber band and getting stretched more and more, you know? So
Exactly.
it's been very difficult. People should not feel that they're doing something wrong, but many people I know who are very strong people are just feeling like they need to take more naps, or that they don't have the energy that they used to, and it's a very tricky time. So just know that a lot of people are going through this. I see on Facebook people crying out for help. I didn't see that last year. People saying they feel alone, cut off. That's why groups like this that you're leading, Ireland, are very helpful if people feel part of a group. In fact, in Buddhism, which I've studied quite a bit, they have what's called the Three Jewels, which are the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. The Buddha is the consciousness of the enlightened self, enlightened mind. The Dharma is the teachings, the practices that you do to get there. And the Sangha is like the family of other seekers, plus the group of Buddhas already enlightened that are working with us. So that sense of family working for expanded consciousness, that's a group like this is very important. This is the Sangha.
Ooh, the Sangha. I love it.
Yeah.
Yes, everyone on here is my familia. We've been meeting for like the past 3 years and we all help each other. I always say, I'm not the guru. I'm just here learning with all of you. And we share, we cry together, we talk about ascension symptoms because it is a crazy time right now. It's like some days you have all the energy, and then other days you're going through that purification and you're exhausted and you're going through like ego deaths, release of the ego filters, and we all support each other. Everyone on here is a true friend, a true spiritual being that is so wise. Everybody on here is so wise, so enlightened. I want to open it up for everybody to either join in on the conversation, or if you have
Okay,
any
sure.
questions for Peter, go ahead and ask. Oh, love you, Chase. This group is truly an anchor.